All right. Well, I am here and I'm excited because one of the things I love is hearing success of my students. And one of the things that I really, really love is hearing my students do very, very well. So I just wanted to let everyone know I'm here with Michael Scott. Michael Scott was in the group coaching, the First Tech Challenge, back in September, October-ish, I think it was.
Yep.
And you came out to the Extreme Freedom event, and I wanted to kind of ask you to come in here, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, you and your wife, and how you got interested in wholesaling. And then I want to ask you about your first deal.
Sure. So, Michael Scott, I live out in San Jose, California, out in the Bay Area here.
That's where I was born. Yahoo!
There we go. Married. I got a beautiful wife and a 9-year-old son. He just turned 9 on the 7th of last month now. Yeah. And we've been kind of investing in buy and hold real estate for probably 5 years or so at this point, out in the Toledo, Ohio market primarily. And along the way, so you kind of run into the typical problems of capital, right? How do I generate money to continue to build my portfolio?
Keep buying rental, yeah.
Right. So I mean, I guess at heart, and that's changed. That heart is changing a little bit, but at heart, I'm a buy and hold guy. But the more we have success in the wholesaling business, the more my heart is shifting to that. However, we're still using the wholesaling business to fund kind of the long-term strategy, the exit strategy, right? I have a W-2 job still. I have a business partner out in Dallas who happens to be my younger brother as well. Gabriel, shout out to Gabriel, by the way, in case you ever watch this.
He's a good guy. He is a slick guy too. He's a good sales guy.
That's secret weapon right there, right? Yep. So we kind of push each other, drive each other, hold each other accountable, and keep the business moving. And now we're kind of scaling it. So the drivers of it was the need to capitalize to continue to expand our buy and hold real estate.
That's awesome. So now you're primarily focused in the Dallas market.
Right? Correct.
You're doing it with your brother now. Tell us about your first deal. What'd you do? How'd you find it?
Okay, so we've been running Facebook lead ads primarily.
Okay.
For a long time. So we did it in Toledo. When we first started, we tried to do a lot of it in Toledo. That didn't work out because we didn't necessarily have the boots on the ground that little brother is in Dallas. So we switched markets and retargeted all of our campaigns and our Facebook campaigns and advertising to now point at the DFW metro. The first deal was one out in the first one that actually closed was out in a city called Hico, Texas.
Hico, okay.
Hico, yeah. So it's pretty much south. It's the southernmost area of the market there.
Okay.
So that came across on Facebook and it took a decent amount of. We'll call it babysitting, right, or nurturing to get it across.
And just to let you know, what's interesting is Michael understands Facebook. Like, tell us your background.
My overall background.
Yeah, so your W-2 job.
Yeah, my W-2 job. I'm a director of distribution for a pretty large fulfillment and transportation company out here. So I'm operationally inclined, systems inclined. My previous history is a business analyst, and so I've been kind of blessed to have a path that prepared me to be able to pick up something like the Facebook.
It doesn't bug you to dive in and really understand how to create these type of ads and stuff like that, right?
Oh no,
analytical talk a little bit.
I call it going into my mad scientist mode. I like to get in that mode and stay. I can stay there for 48 hours if necessary until I figure something out. So
I love it. So you found this deal in Hico, Texas. Did little brother go and negotiate with the seller?
Yes, sir. He went out, visited. So that's one thing that we've been focused on too. So I know a lot of people are going virtual.
Mhm.
but we think that one of our strengths, or one of his, is particularly leaning on his superpower, right? Once that guy gets in front of you, he's
He has
disarming.
charisma. He has so much charisma and
Right.
personality.
So our mission in life is to get him in front of these sellers. Period. Right. If we can't, then we'll take the other routes. But getting in front of them is one of our keys, and having the default that we're in it to solve problems, not necessarily. Yeah, sure. We want to make money, obviously, but if you take that, we're just going to try to solve the problem the best way we can, then you're not limiting your exits, so to speak, right? You're open to more creative exits. So this one was, I mean, ultimately it was pretty straightforward. There was some things with the title that needed to be cleared up. Some, like an ex-husband needed to sign some papers or something. There wasn't anything spectacular. And that one ended up, it was a 3x1 down there in Hyco, needed a decent amount of work. And somebody had bought it on seller finance, wanted to get out of it. They were moving away.
Okay.
So that was their motivation. And we ended up making on that one $6,800. That was our first one.
Awesome, dude. How did that feel?
Oh man, it was proof. It was the proof. Well, I mean, you, Sean, and you. What is that? That's that shut up check, right?
Yeah, that's right. The shut up check.
The shut up check. So, and for us, it was more the shut up check for us internally, right? Because we've been at it for. In Dallas specifically, we were at it for 2 months before that one popped through. So we had.
I want to touch on this for a second. So you were doing marketing for a couple months.
Yeah.
Where you got this deal. Sometimes we think that if we just drop 100 postcards or make 100 phone calls that we should have a deal, just like that. Sometimes it's a little bit more effort, huh?
So early, we thought it too, right? Like, so we have the same doubts and all of that, and the same kind of preconceived notions of how things should work. The difference that we had going into it, this particularly when we left the Extreme Freedom event, was we're going to do this for 6 months no matter what.
Awesome.
And whatever happens, happens. And so we were 4 months ahead of schedule when the first one popped through. Now, number 2 popped through. So that one closed on Friday. The next one closed on the following Tuesday.
Wow.
So that was boom, boom, back to back. And that's
so
how.
6,800 on the first one?
What's that?
Was it 6,800 on the first one you said?
6,800 on the first one.
And do you remember what the second one was?
7,000 on the second one.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Getting those.
So
that's nice.
Yeah. So that was. There it goes. That was January, and I think we, you know me. I tried to do well. How many hours did that take us? And you know, I get all into that kind of stuff. But for the, the wage per hour on that worked out lovely, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Those are definitely. I mean, the numbers now, and this is one other thing that changes, right? So now I say things like, we're only making 10,000 on that one. Right? Where that's, come on now,
it's almost like monopoly money. It almost doesn't seem real, Yeah.
So it's just it's different how, it's funny how your mind shifts as you progress through this thing if you're having success. Yeah. Now, we've been through one where and this was early. This was a very discouraging kind of turnout for us, right? Okay. We had one that was on paper in our bank would have been 60,000.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
A couple little wrong words on a contract, and somebody else had it under contract, and some lawyers and that evaporates, right?
Yeah.
And I think, had we not kind of had that mentality of no matter what, we're sticking to this thing for this amount of time, I think that would have been a stop point for a lot of people. It still irritates me every time I think about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one was no fun. But
so you've had some bumps and bruises along the way too, then.
Oh yeah. We'll make that back 100-fold. We're not, Gabe calls it a rounding error at the end of the day. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of it. We learn so much from those mistakes, or we learn from the things that don't always happen and fall through. We think every time it should be success, 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 but a lot of times the way that real successful people learn is through obstacles, through defeats, through disappointments.
Yep. Yeah. And we took just, okay, this is what we learned. Next time we know
There
what
you
we're doing.
go. Yeah.
We can't be stopped the next time this comes up, right?
So what marketing strategies are you using now? Are you still focused on Facebook primarily?
So primarily Facebook. We've started a VA caller
Right.
out of Costa Rica. We have them running 20 hours a week, so halftime.
Okay.
And we're doing the tax list and tax and vacant right now.
Okay.
But those won't be large enough to have enough context for that program to continue. So we're going to have to go a little broader soon.
Got it. No, that's cool. Now let's fast forward. What's going on recently? What's been happening for you up to date now?
So on the 9th, our first acquisition associate starts in DFW area.
Aren't a new sales guy or gal.
Sales guy. Yeah. So we're starting our scaling.
Love it.
Right. So he starts. We have the one VA going. We're working on a program with VAs to basically start nurturing relationships with every single real estate agent in DFW, right? And we're starting on Fort Worth, so they're gonna get cold called, and we're gonna start building those relationships and nurturing those relationships to stay on their radar for deals they have and buyers they have.
Love it. Pocket listings and buyers. That's great.
And of course, right now our backbone is the Facebook advertising. So we're definitely going to stay in that space and continue to get leads from there.
Now, did you do any deals recently?
Yeah. So last month we did 3.
Awesome.
Total about $34K.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great. It just is moving forward, man. It's just the momentum is just building.
So that's 5 of those shut up checks, right? So
yeah,
I think those checks are done. Those checks are done. So we're coming along. We're tracking nicely. Yeah.
So what would you say to the beginners out there that are just getting started, and maybe they've been doing it a little bit, but maybe they're almost ready to throw in the towel? They just haven't had results yet.
Keep going. Keep taking action and take consistent action. And eventually something's going to pop through. You have faith. Have faith in yourself.
Yeah.
Kick the fears to the side. Get all that kind of limiting beliefs out of your mind. Just keep going. Eventually it'll come through.
What benefits have you seen when you went through this coaching program and stuff like that? What were some of the things that helped you along the way?
So definitely it gives you the framework, the foundation. It's like, Michael Jordan wouldn't be anything without the fundamentals, right? So this gives you the framework and the fundamentals overall to understand how to approach things from starting with lead generation on through to closing out, right? And everything in between. So a lot. We're using the program a lot. And I'll tell you, the program was that baseline, that foundation setting, but that Extreme Freedom event was the moment that we left there and internally understood. Mm-hmm. We only thought we were putting in work before. Now let's go really put in work, right? So
isn't it amazing how our mindset changes?
Yeah. Yeah. You get around a bunch of people doing it, you got really no choice but to go do it.
Yeah, and it's different because it's like you get rewarded for your efforts. Where, maybe a regular job, if it's not a commission-based job, maybe you do even better than everyone else, but you still get paid the same hourly wage.
Yeah.
But something like this,
Along those lines, I know for a fact I make my guys multi-millions of dollars every year. My employees.
Yeah.
I don't see a fraction of that in my pocket. So
now you're building up a business and you're putting
right.
in time for your own family, for your own self.
Exactly. So just think. So for us, it's just think if we took that same energy we put into making somebody else money into building somebody else's business into ourselves, right?
That's gold. That's gold right there. That's you just nailed it. You just nailed it. Like, if you just put the time and effort and your own money into yourself, why you spend time building someone else's business, right?
Right.
Well, any last bits of advice that you'd like to share with anyone before we let you go here? And thanks so much for being on this video call.
Well, so thank you. You coached us up to begin with, so thank you for that. And the one piece of advice, Brandon's the man.
There you go.
Do what he says to do, and you'll get there. I mean, we walked out of that couple conversations and event and walked out, and it was textbook, exactly what he said do, and that was to get some buyers, and we got them, and it works. So it works. It's real. Keep going.
I love it. Thanks so much, Michael. Appreciate it so much. Thanks for being on.
Thank you.